process getting the deck ready for this 3-season studio room. Here is called sunscreen poisoning in your eye. Oh, this is going to be cancer in another year. Jesus Christ. Got a house that's falling away quite a bit. So when we put that 2x6 on here, we might want to shim it out at the top to keep it plumb. Then when the 2x6 all gets capped off, it'll be hunky-dory. The thing you have to watch for is when the house is leaning the opposite way into the new room, because then you'll find that the tracks that you built on the floor, you're going to find that this room, if the house was tipped in an inch farther, the room's going to be an inch bigger, so you gotta watch out for that kind of thing. Boss tells you it's a 14 by 14 room, and turns out it's really 170 across the front, so you end up having to scab some wood on the sides. But that's okay, it all gets cleaned up with flashing when you're done. So this was previously there was a wood framed sunroom on here, which is why there's an old lower roof line. So we've got a higher roof line because we've got a nice room with transoms above. So we've got to mount that roof higher. And we're cutting into the siding so that we can find good structure to mount the roof to, and so that we tuck a flashing underneath that siding. So far so good. You can see that the walls could be anything but plumb. So the solution is to shim out with the 2x6, but you have to remember to include that 2x6 in the size of your deck. So but all is not lost. You can always, if you had to build out the walls with a 2x6, you can always just add a 2x to the front of your deck. You want to make sure that you find where all the stud locations are, which is tough in a building like this. Big old rough framing inside there. And you can see in the hangar, we've double drilled for 3/8 lag bolts for every stud location. Nice legs. The best thing to do before you put your flashing down is to run an ice and water shield barrier, aka blue skin, and you can see it's going to wrap up against the house a little bit. We didn't just cut it to the corner here, it's wrapping up there a little bit. Goes all the way down the side of the deck, and then we'll wrap a little bit underneath. If you're using pressure treated wood, it can't come into contact with the aluminum flashing, so we've put a 6mm poly over this this build out that's keeping the sunroom back wall plumb, and then when we put our beautiful cap over that, it won't deteriorate. The aluminum won't be affected by the chemicals in the PT. Cap was made the legs get progressively longer because of how badly sloped this house wall is. So we've got a beautiful cap to start our sunroom walls from, and you can see the poly sticking out the top that's protecting the aluminum from the pressure treated wood. The final job on the membrane wrap around the deck. The next step will be flashing.
You've added that?
Huh? just a little bit off the edge so it doesn't interfere with the next piece of flashing that comes down. Or is that are you making a tab that you're going to insert?
Yes. So this one will slide onto that.
Oh my god, that is pro. That is sweet. So we've held the flashing in. There you go. So there'll be some silicone along here to get that watertight. And you can see that the flashing is held temporarily in place by some roofing nails that we'll take out after the floor tracks are in place. Don't forget to caulk the overlaps of your flashing. Craft-Bilt loves it when you use lots of caulking because there's lots of profit margin in caulking. Thank you very much. Completely on the flashing, comes slightly inside the room. The flashing is bent about 2 inches down the face. When the job is done, we'll slip a flashing up behind that to completely trim off the face of the deck. Track is all properly screwed. Those screws will all get covered with silicone. About every 12 inches. Let's show that. Show me what happens when you put the screw in too tight. Let me see the legs bow in. So you want to avoid that. Screw off if you have to. Great. So the legs stay nice and straight. Awesome. You see in here, the track and the U-channel are completely dammed up so that the water is isolated to the track. We're working on today, which requires a good deal more work and knowledge on the part of the installer. The corner post needs to be notched. The deep end, because this is a studio room, will face the house. The short legs will face the supporting wall. And that's so we can notch the short legs down, and when that swivel header comes across, it will overlap these legs and give us a structural connection. So that's the notch on the corner post. This corner post has been cut to a 4.5-degree angle to match the roof pitch. The offset H, yeah, butts between the U-channel and the corner post. 162.25. Take two.
Okay.
Like a glove. Sure, we isolate the water to this track. So we have to create a dam here. So you're going to take this, and we're going to slide it. We're going to slide it far enough because there's going to be a mullion on this window, and we don't want this tab to interfere with that mullion. So we're going to put it about a 1/2 inch in like that. So I need you to goober all this up with silly putty.
You want me to do it? He makes money that way.
Yeah, the big, huge margins in silicone.
It's like the soda pop of the powers, eh?
All right. Then we drop this guy in like that. He's about a 1/2 inch past. Now give me corner beads again.
You want that screwed down?
Yes, and then one screw in the middle. And I need you to go up the corner post a bit with it.
Do you guys bring bug slide here?
Yeah, it's below.
Yeah.
Got the pressure.
Oh, you're not letting Ryan caulk, are you?
Huh? His old lady said he was a bad car.
You want up here too?
Yeah, up there too. You got it, because we're making that dam. We're isolating the water to the offset H track. Get some more caulk in there, man.
Yeah, he's got it. He took it on me.
Bastard. Yeah. So there's the finished dam. And this end as well. Now we've isolated the water to our offset H track, and the water can only come out the weep holes. The that bug strip?
As far as I know, they always use it here.
Yeah. It's rarely used. We found that there were certain areas, especially in rural farm country, where they get these flies called cluster flies.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of cluster flies?
Yeah.
If you're ever driving in the country and you see one side of a house is completely covered with flies, and then next year they won't hit that house again. They'll hit some other house or some other place. And you'll find if you're doing a sunroom and you're cutting away the siding, and you'll find like there's like a million dead cluster flies. So this is called reticulated foam, which is a foam that allows water to pass but not insects.
That one goes over there, and then the next one.
You want me to go higher? No.
Perfect. Slide on that.
Well, not if his end isn't in.
I'm in.
Okay, good.
I'm in. Good? Yeah.
Yeah?
You gotta go down a bit.
Are you in?
I'm in.
I don't feel a thing.
Push your corner down again while I hold this up a bit. So it'll go in. And it's gotta be flush. You got everything?
Okay, yep, she's got to go down in there nice and snug in that offset H track. Yeah, I'd say, yeah, you still got a 1/4 inch to go. You're using the reticulated foam under the doors as well.
Are you in? No. Now.
Yeah, I would bring that corner up like you're doing. Get that in first. Yeah, he's got it. Another 1/4 inch, Richard.
We don't want to shove her in all the way until this one's in.
Gotcha.
Up higher?
Yeah. Okay. You're in?
Yeah, you guys can put your end down first. I'll keep mine lifted so somebody will go.
Like a glove.
Almost like it was cut to fit.
My knees are bone heads.
Quick grips are a very handy thing to have. We had some quick grips on here, we just took them off.
I know they got hit pretty.
And before we start putting in too many screws, you want to make sure those posts are plumb. There she goes. So here we've quick gripped everything together, nice tight joints. We've brought down our
You cannot be on the ice.
beautiful engineered swivel header.
Makes sense.
And that will adapt to the slope of the roof. Just like that. And which is the extrusion that covers your wing panel. Will be coming down like so. And a nice trick is to take your grinder, cut reliefs inside the U-channel, then those legs will pinch, and when that panel cap comes on, we'll have an overlap of it to the outside, and we'll have a beautiful clean joint. Might not come out too well in the sun. You want to be sure that your frames are level, and you can see that these frames are level with each other. The knee wall panel's cut at 17.5 inches, but what you'll end up doing is pulling this offset H up off that panel and maintaining it level so that your frames are all level at the top.
416.
So, measuring for the panel cap. The wing panel is cut about 1/2 inch lower than it needs to be. Nice little tricks are things like putting these reliefs just inside the legs with a grinder. That allows us to pinch the panel cap and hide those legs inside the corner post. Makes for a nice finish. The same thing happens at the back. How the panel cap. So that's got a 4.5 degree back cut to match our roof slope. And if you look inside here, hopefully you can see the relief cuts in the U-channel. And now these panel cap legs are going to go nicely right over the top. Transom glass is going in.
Here? Oh, it's for this back corner.
Did you have this ladder set up?
You set it off, same amount of turns or thereabouts.
So these are the ball bearing wheels in the Better Living windows being adjusted. In this case, the homeowner wants windows that slide apart from the center, so as we level these windows, we're being careful to keep the hardware holes lined up. And of course, Better Living, only tempered glass. Panel comes in, we put one screw at the back. It's flush to the outside of the panel hanger, and then we measure that, double check that overhang, and make sure it's the same there. And then we just put one screw in the panel cap, so that as we put in all the other panels, we'll make sure that panels, the ends are flush. And so we put one more screw. Let's put one more screw in that seam at the back there. Okay. Maintaining our 1/8 gap. Now the cleats coming in.
I only did the first 10 inches in Jigaloo because we're running short.
There you go. Got a hacksaw for that or some snips on you?
I got some snips.
Just keep pushing it in there till you hear it hit the back of the hanger. That was it.
Okay. You got it started yet? Line, no.
There you go. That's your left hand. You got the power in that left hand to get that in there?
No, I'm a righty.
I'm ambidextrous.
It's shaking. The arm is shaking.
Left-handed.
But just get it to butt the hanger at the back.
So you're not supposed to go up and underneath it, eh?
No, why? Yeah, there's no point to it. Right there.
Oh, you're already underneath it.
It's up to you. I like not to have that gap.
Yeah, we caulk that normally too.
Yeah, we run a
line,
bead. Yeah.
but
I like to use as little caulk as possible. I would pull that guy out. Here comes the big 4.5 inch panel craft panel.
Well, hey, it's a good time for the homeowners here.
The strongest,
top of the panel, but that piece goes against the head.
the toughest,
If you look here, dude, see how these go one way?
the crystal coat finish.
Covers, if you're going against it, they get caught. They're held up all the time, so it's one of the faces.
So there's a grain, I don't know if you can see on the video, there's a grain on that honeycomb core, and so we're orienting the grain, pointing towards the home so that it's easier when we slide in our cleats. Want me to come up there and grab that, or can you get it, Paul?
I think I can
I can't reach for much longer.
Yeah, no, that's it.
Can you hold it?
Big 14-foot span.
back to me about 1 inch.
Richard bar.
I just noticed that. I've been saying Richard's bar, I'll say it about 1,000 times. Got the man himself.
He's got his right hand on it now.
6. 3 inches. Whoa. 1 little tap. Yep.
Bob's your uncle.
Uncle Bob.
The rooms aren't just engineered for snow, they have to be engineered for lift, which is why you have to make sure you have 2 screws on both faces of your corner post at every column, which is where every set of doors or window frames connects. Double screws inside and out
Yeah.
at the corner post. It's doubled up. And then in your framework, in this Better Living 3-season room, vertically the screws are about every 16 inches. But you have to engineer for wind load, not just snow load. In that big swivel header up there also, there will be more screws placed later because those roof panels are being bolted into that swivel header. So it has to be connected properly to the wall system.
There's the bit I need in my belt already.
The holes for the keeper are drilled with the aid of this keeper drill jig. Come on, little guy. There we go. It goes in like that after the windows have been leveled. And the holes are drilled through the bushings. And now we have a perfectly aligned keeper. Sorry, bud.
Just a little scope from the picture there.
Yeah. So that's using those, these are called Chicago screws. The nice thing about using a Chicago screw is that it's attractive because it's blind on this side, so it's got a nice painted finish. And you can always snug them up if they get loose, which is much better than a sheet metal tapping screw, which when it gets loose, there's nothing you can do about it. So that's what's holding the handles together on your sashes, is color matched Chicago screws. You know, it's got a burr. So the cool thing about the Craft-Bilt gutter fascia is that it has that radiused edge. And that's like sort of the technologies that 1 or 2 of those gutter systems use. It draws the water down instead of it shooting over the top. Okay, this is the 2-piece gutter fascia system. It makes it much easier to get on your panels. Thanks, guys. The gutter fascia is going to be cut the same length as your panel hanger at the house. You just drop it on, it'll fit over the panels and over those cleats. And then the first thing to do is get some screws on the top, about every 16 inches to hang on to that sucker.
If the screen gets wrecked.
Why would happen?
You order screen and you rescreen it.
They've got
It
screws.
takes 15-20 minutes.
I nicked one.
Oh, you did?
Pulling it out of
No,
the,
this metal stuff's
Well, it's nice when they don't blame the factory. That usually it is, it came that way.
I didn't notice that it was metal. Oh, that's the coffee, Ryan.
So here's that lovely
inside by that ladder.
color matched Better Living hardware. You can hear the sound of that heavy weather stripping. It's not just the weather stripping, there's also in the center, you can see it better here, is a Mylar strip that runs in there to help get it that wind rating that these windows have. Locks up the anti-theft bar, so if somebody was to try and break in Sometimes the way they break into a patio door is they take a crowbar and they crowbar it out of the track, which lifts it off the lock. But with that anti-theft bar, you can't lift it up and take it off the keeper. I hope that's in focus. It has been cut for the top of the left wall.
How about this break?
So this is a 112 pitch room, so this is a 4.5 degree back cut on the side fascia. And then what we did is we cut a notch at the top, about 1/2 inch or so. And what's going to happen when that slips up into the panel hanger, the panel hanger will overlap that, it will flash itself over the side fascia, and that notch that we put in there allows the side fascia to come tight to the house. Rock line that was centered on the front wall, and now the large 1/4 inch self-drilling screws get screwed through the roof all the way into the swivel header. Now, although these have a neoprene gasket beneath them, you are still required to silicone that. And to assure proper bonding for the silicone, you should clean this area with isopropyl alcohol, which is apparently a little different than rubbing alcohol. Rubbing alcohol, they say, may have a little of oil content, so be sure and look for isopropyl alcohol. The screws in the gutter are about every 16 inches. You don't want to skimp on those. You don't want ice to be able to knock the gutter off the end of your roof. Guys at Prestige Windows in Peterborough, Brian, Jake, Paul, Richard, pan up. Can you see Richard? Hello. Thanks, guys. Better Living, 14 by 14, 3-season room, looking great. Thanks.